Okay, well, let's see if we can try it this time now with the chat box enabled. How weird. Um, yeah. Okay, sorry about that. All right, let's try this again where we left off. Whew. Wait, well, I just deleted that other video, so we're only 5 minutes in, but luckily I noticed that, or I'd be like, hey, why isn't everybody asking any questions or commenting? Oh, your chat box is gone. It's amazing that I've got about 200 videos up because I am not an internet savvy person. Not internet. I don't mean internet. I mean like technology savvy. It's not that I'm like against technology. It's just that I don't do that for a living. I'm not a computer nerd for a job for work, and the technology keeps freaking changing. So it's just difficult to keep up with it. So, and I'm not a keeping up with the Joneses kind of person. So if you're, I get annoyed why, they come up with all this new stuff that they want you to buy every year, instead of enjoying what you've spent your hard-earned money on. So, but anyhow, yeah, it's a miracle. I've been able to put any of this amount of videos up, but I realized at least in time before it was all up and everything that chat box was not there. But anywho. Said I'll keep doing these things. I'll keep doing all these videos and YouTube stuff until I can no longer do it or until they charge me. So I actually had an incident happen last weekend. I think I talked a little bit about this. Was it last weekend or the weekend before last? I think it might have been the weekend before last because I mentioned it last weekend. Anyhow, so I had posted I don't put controversial stuff on my Facebook page. I certainly have opinions about things, but I'm not really interested in getting into arguments with people because, arguments are, not going to really change anybody's mind. So, um, but anyhow, I had put a funny meme, or I thought it was funny, a couple of years ago up on my Facebook page. And I'm not going to show you what it is because, well, I can't do that right now, but I'll at least describe it to you a little bit what it is. You guys can look it up if you're so inclined. It is a meme of Churchill and Hitler, and it is Churchill giving his victory, his V symbol, and Hitler doing the thing that Hitler does when he wants to salute people. And on the bottom of the meme, it said, "Scissors beats paper," and I thought it was really funny. Doesn't promote anything other than maybe awareness that the British were on the winning side of the Second World War, thank goodness. And yeah, I got a note. I put that up on my personal page probably 2 years ago. And about a week ago, I get a message from Facebook saying that I put up something that was against their policy or whatever. And I'm like, I haven't put anything recently. What are you talking about? And they gave me a little snapshot of this meme I had put up. And they said, no, you can't do that anymore. You've been banned from posting any Facebook Live videos or internet advertising for the next 30 days. Well, I don't do Facebook Live anymore. It's a small audience, and there's a lot of people that don't do Facebook for a different number of reasons. One of them that I'm might be example of that being that banning right there. But anyhow, I thought that was really strange that they caught it and then maybe they changed their algorithm or something like that. But I posted that a couple years ago before all the cancel crap had started. So, oh well. I'm just going to continue being the same person I always am. I think that's a little bit more honest than being a weaselly person that presents themselves in one way and then they're a different way somewhere else. So, anyhow, if we need to bow to the powers to be on these social sites, well, then I guess I'll just take my message somewhere else because I don't plan on. Like I said, I'm not really controversial. I don't really put in. You guys want to, see controversial things or something like that. There's plenty of material for you guys out there. There's no nudity here, none of that stuff. No, no fake magic tricks with, running around and stuff like that. I don't really have any controversial material. So if you want to get offended by something you see on my channel, then as my boss would say, I think you need to get some thicker skin. So anyhow, we're here for the hobby. If you have differing opinions, that's cool. You know, you're allowed to have a different opinion, or you used to be able to have a different opinion when I grew up. So, but I'm not from this age. I'm from the 1980s. Oh man. Anyhow, so back to hobbying. No, we'll keep doing these videos until, like I said, people say, "Hey, man, we need to get some more games," and you just wait. There'll be more games in. We'll get them in. They're fun to do. Mitch enjoys doing them as well, and I will continue doing these videos until they stop being fun, or I start getting charged to do them, that's uncool. I don't know if it's going to come to that, but I just wanted to throw that out there. I'm trying to don't mind helping some folks out, but I don't need to be charged to do this. So anyhow, you just do what I do. If you see something on the internet you don't like, just keep going. You're not going to change everybody's mind. Being an argumentative butthole. So anywho. And nobody's on to hear me. Oh well. For those of you that hear this afterwards, well, there you have it. No, I think one of the worst things you could do is pretend to be somebody else, and then you're someone else. I have no problem with the person that I am, and I don't think anybody should pretend to be somebody that they're not. I'd make a terrible salesperson, but sales weasel, as I like to call it. I heard that a long time ago. When I heard it, I'm like, oh, I'm going to keep that one. People that don't stand for anything. It's okay to be a salesman. I don't have a problem with a salesman. I'm talking about a sales weasel. So anyhow, yeah. So that was really interesting that they had a problem with something that I posted 2 years ago. Well, I don't post that on there, so and. Like I just did an unboxing. I did a unboxing of a bunch of decals and stuff like that. And some of those decals are in there, ones that I've had since the 90s or whatever. And there's some German World War II aircraft, and German World War II aircraft have certain symbols on their tails, which I am not a proponent. Well, you know what? I am a proponent of having the correct decals because that's what they did historically. But I don't like those damn people. But am I going to get in trouble for showing that stuff on the decals? I don't know. If that's what it takes, then I guess there just won't be any more videos. But, I'm not going to hide from history. I don't support any totalitarian crap here, on either side of the spectrum. So, anywho. And I don't think it should be banned. I mean, people need to learn about history and stuff. I mean, that stuff really happened, unfortunately. Well, let's at least learn from it. All right, let's get the. But I'm not really interested in getting into arguments with people. And that's pretty much in and that's just not my internet personality. That's just my personality in general. It's just not worth my time. You're not going to change anybody's mind. I was a member of a Facebook group, and I just use Facebook as an example, not because I'm a huge proponent of them. I don't necessarily have a problem with Facebook. I think it is a venue that is very user friendly. I do a lot of my internet activity on my phone, so it's very easy to like take a picture of maybe something that I'm working on in my hobby and post it on there without having to go to a site where I have to a mirror site where I have to upload my photos and then link them. That stuff's very difficult to do if you're using your phone as most of your internet activity, which was what I do. You know, it's my portable camera and what have you. But there was a member. I was a member of a. I joined a painting Facebook site. I'm not going to tell you what it is, even if you guess it, because I really don't want the controversy. But I just want to kind of tell you kind of what my mo is. I liked the name of the group. It was a painting group, and I liked the name of the group. And the group was very. The name of the group was reflective of something that we used to do while we were painting, and it's nothing inappropriate or anything, just, you know. So anyways, I saw this. It was a painting group. It had a catchy name. I'm like, let me join it. And you know, I really was kind of a lurker, really didn't post anything on there. And then somebody was asking on there, somebody else asked about paint. And then I kind of gave my opinion of like, well, I don't really like the paint that Games Workshop uses, because you know, I love the old Citadel stuff, but at that time these had not come out yet. Okay, there was only the old style like this. Okay, these are great. The paint's great, and the container's great. This paint, the paint's still good. Container, yeah, it's 80% of what this used to be. These were great. The interim, which is actually very hard, it has a hard cover and the hard outside. You just don't. It doesn't allow to seal it as well. So I made some kind of a comment like, you know, the old containers were really good, and I don't know, maybe they weren't selling enough paint because it wasn't drying out, so they came up with other containers that the paint would dry out, so people had to use it more often, because there's a couple of color they had to buy more paint, because there's a couple of colors I had of metallics that I literally used them one time, and then when I went back like 6 months later to use them, the paint had dried out. Well, $5 to use it one time is a bit much. Okay, so I made some kind of a comment like that, and then man, I got jumped on like, you're a Games Workshop basher and this, that, and the other, and I'm like, okay, well, fuck this. I'm leaving this. I'm leaving this. You know, I'm not gonna, you know, defend myself. You know, that's I don't put controversial things on the internet because I'm not going to convert anybody, and I don't feel like I don't enjoy arguing. So why should I spend, you know, calories trying to defend myself? So that's fine. We have a difference of opinion. I'll go somewhere else where, you know, I'm not going to be, you know, the first time I mention something that you know, I get crucified. So it's fine. It's all good, you know. But yeah, if that's how this group's going to be, then I don't need to be here. So that's same thing with the miniatures page. I used to go on the miniatures page all the time. Never had a bad experience with the miniatures page, other than they just had, you know, just it was constant, just arguments. It's also not very, it's not very friendly from the standpoint of being able to find things anymore. Now, when you have things like Facebook and things like that, but I like my hobby, but I like my hobby to be all positive. Okay, it's my therapy. So there's no point in me going to therapy and it creating stress, or you're doing it wrong. You know, I get paid for stress, and even then I don't like it. But I'm certainly not going to do it for free. So oh well. But there's people out on the internet. You guys know it. They're just looking for an argument, and whatever. It's not worth my time. Okay, if you're just joining us, welcome. We're working on the Hungarian handgunners here. And this is this guy and three more guys, and then we'll be done with these guys and we can start putting them together. So excited to see how that looks and how these guys perform. Okay, let's get, we probably have some of this metal still alive here. What's this? Is this metal corner? Yeah. Yeah, this is metal corner over here. And no, I haven't decided what army I'm going to do after these guys. I don't even want to think about it. Because I could decide now, and then when I'm done with these guys, have a wild hair up my ass, so to speak, and want to do somebody else. So I will decide at the last minute, and then I'm going to stick with it. Otherwise, I don't have anything to show for it. Honestly, I'm actually a lot happier not building armies for a particular tournament at a particular convention. I'm fine just, just plugging along and they'll get done when they get done and we'll get them done as soon as we can and that's it. Because what'll end up happening is you got added stress to get them done by a certain time for a certain event, or you just say F it and play them with fudged figures and then lose your motivation to finish your army. That's happened before. So I am not a fan of being rushed. So yeah, if you haven't seen it, check out this week's videos. We had a Q&A on Monday that went on for like 2 hours. That's a lot of fun, actually, where we answered everything from DBA 3.0 questions, and people wanted to know what our background to Mitch and I, or our background to wargaming is, and what type of underwear we wear, and assuming it's a Tuesday, and what else? Favorite kind of sandwich, favorite color, stuff like that. Nah, not all those things, but there are some not necessarily DBA related questions. So it was a lot of fun. Thanks for those of you that joined us and kept us entertained. Hopefully you were too. I don't know if this is exactly the same color. Nope, it's over there. That's the color I've been using for the little post. I want to keep the firearms all looking the same, like they were made in the same with the same materials, to have some consistency when everything else is pretty much all over the place. So Marcin, deep inside you, you know you want Polish because even Americans need heroes. Yeah, I like that. I don't know anybody that's Polish. So I live in the South, okay? And I've always lived in the South. And the thing about the South of the United States is, I know there's exceptions, but all I can tell you is my experience is if you ask somebody who is normal American looking, You know, I'm not telling you like a black guy or someone from India or, somebody who's obviously from the Orient or Asian, that kind of thing. If you ask somebody who looks like a Anglo-Saxon type of American person and you say, hey, where are you from? What your lineage is, a lot of them just don't know. Or they'll always say the whole, yeah, English, Scottish, Irish, and Cherokee. They always throw in, if they're part Native American, some 1/16th or 64th Cherokee or whatever. We don't, at least in my area, don't have communities where like I'm Italian or I'm Polish or I'm Irish, or it's just a mixture of things, or they just don't know. So I've never known anyone who has been Polish, just in this area. Now up north, I know they have communities and things like that, but I've never known anybody that's Polish. I do have some later Polish to do, but you know also, not knowing any Polish people and knowing the Polish history somewhat better than most, which is not saying a whole lot, but wargaming forces you, at least in my case, to learn about the history of these different countries and stuff like that, civilizations, what have you. Knowing the history of the Poles, I never understood, and not knowing any of them personally, I never understood the whole Polish joke thing. I don't know if that's still a thing, but in the 80s, of course, all the Polish jokes, how did the Germans invade Poland? They walked in backwards and told them they were leaving. Stuff like that. It's like, okay, I don't get it, because the Poles like freaking fought hard and they got sandwiched in between two countries, and and they left and they fought for the British. They fought on the British side, and they didn't give up. And it's like, I don't understand. In the medieval age, in the medievals, they were hard fighters, and the hussars and all that stuff. And I don't understand how that happened. And I guess it's you have to be in one of those communities up north where maybe a lot of the people came over on the boat in the early 1900s or the later 1900s. No, the late 1800s or the early 1900s to really understand where that came from. But not knowing anybody that's Polish, it didn't really make any sense to me. But you know, um, but yeah, never known anybody personally that's Polish. So Mitch, I think, has known a couple of people, but he's from up north, so they've got bigger communities and stuff like that. But also, anybody who says like, let's see, in our game group the other day, I realized, I even mentioned this, like, I was the only one that wasn't German. Everybody else was German. You had two Harbachs, a Schmidt, Coton is German. Who am I missing? Scott's German. They all have German last names, but they're not first or second or third generation. I'm sure they're, came over in the 1700s or something like that. So, they're not really, you know, first or second or third generation. They're really removed that way. So, do you have all Spanish armies? No, I don't like playing in Spanish. It's too personal. I feel like I have to win with them. And I guess my lineage is closer to that than all the other guys are in Germany. My great grandfather, my both of my great grandfathers, the way I understand it, came from Spain to Cuba in the late 1800s, and my grandfather was born in Cuba, and my dad was too. So for me, it's like, are you ever going to go to Cuba? Hell no, I'm never going to go. But why wouldn't I just go to Spain? I mean, that's where we come from. So you know or Ireland, where some of my ancestors probably didn't find out about the Gulf Stream, and landed on the crash landed on the north end of Ireland, and kept all the Irish from being red haired and freckled. You're welcome. Oh man. What else? Just mongrels, the lot of you. As a mongrel, I feel I can say this. Well, better a mongrel than a Mongol. I don't like the Mongols. Sorry. Sorry, folks that are Mongol fans. They're on my to paint list, but I just can't see the Mongols as anything but the bad guys. Sorry. There's some nations that are just like, well, what is it that I say? Aztecs, Aztecs, and Assyrians and Mongols. You don't want to move. You don't want them to move in next to you. Okay, they're not really good neighbors. You really don't want those folks moving in with you. Oh man. Let's see. Yeah, my first army was feudal Spanish because I couldn't build a Renaissance Spanish in my in DBA. But yeah, I don't like playing Spanish. It's kind of personal. I feel like I got to win with them. It's still just a game, but I know several people though that it's the opposite of that. Okay, they play DBA and they like the French. They like the French army, but they actually don't like French people. I don't know why. I don't think either one of them has ever met someone from France, but it's just the perception, you know. But I'm like, I don't have a problem with, you know, I don't have a problem with French people. Look, I don't know if any French people are watching. I do have French people. Saying you don't like French people is like saying someone from France doesn't like Americans when they meet somebody from New York. We're not all like New Yorkers, thank God. Okay, we're nothing like that. So I'm sure there's cool people in France, absolutely. So, oh, this is strange. This is looking like a different color. Well, it's slightly different. Maybe I use one of these colors that look differently. Let me show you guys this. This is neat. I don't have to repaint it. It kind of worked out. I may have used a different color. Let's see if you guys can even tell. Let's see here. Yeah, see, this one's a little bit more orangey. This is probably the red leather and not the other one. But that works, you know? Cool. I just noticed it. Yeah, two guys I knew just don't like the French, but like the French army. The French armies, because they're, all the knights and stuff like that. I'm like, come on. Aw, poopy diaper. I forgot to put the, I forgot to paint the knee pads on this guy here. Let's see. But the Poles, the medieval Poles have a flag with an eagle on it. I am extremely partial to the things with eagles on them. No doubt it's because of my crest of arms, but yeah, I like things with eagles on them, no doubt. So that's a win right there. John Peter, I found out that there are a number of ex-Spanish fortifications just a few kilometers away from me. Just where earthworks are slowly being overgrown. I'll have to visit. Okay. So you must be near the Low Countries. They're on the border. Yeah. Okay. We're done with that. Let's all right, we put that thing here and man, it's late out there in Deutschland. It's well that's Europeans. You guys eat like really late, right? You guys have like a really late dinner. Um my schedule, my preferred schedule is wake up at 5 a.m., have breakfast. Well, if I'm only gonna have one breakfast, it's at 5 a.m. when I wake up. Sometimes on Sundays I have multiple breakfasts. Hey, it's a weekend. You got to live a little, right? And then lunch is at 11. because why wait to eat? And in a perfect world, my biggest meal would be lunch, and then dinner as soon as I get home. So 5:30, 6 at the latest, you know. And then I rarely stay up past 10:30, 10:30, unless it's game night, which is, you never know, only once a week. So the Spanish contested a town on the Rhine, 7 kilometers from my town. Hello from Hadrian's Wall country. There you go. Which side of the wall are you? North? North of the wall. I think everybody has, I've said this before in our videos. Almost all these civilizations had some aspect or many aspects of really bad stuff, and of bad things that happened, certainly by today's standards, but some of them even by the days that they were around standards, and and it's funny seeing what people's preferences are. And the best example I can think of is how people in the UK view the Normans. As an outsider, I was really surprised. And I know you guys are going to have opinions about this, and I've heard them before. But say 5 years ago, when I didn't really know or really know what people's opinions on the Normans, as an outsider, if I'm painting an army, I am usually attracted to the army that looks the coolest. Okay, so whether they have a better flag, banner, uniforms, if you're going to paint them, you want to paint guys that look, interesting. That's just generally, that might be everybody, but I mean, just me personally, I'm attracted to collecting or playing the army that looks cooler. And I was actually surprised at how many people in the UK were and I've heard the arguments why now, but were actually very anti-Norman. And the thing that surprised me is because as an outsider, I always viewed the Normans as just another invader. Okay, because it's not like, it's like, you've got the ancient Brits that are there. Well, they all fought each other, and then the Romans showed up, and then and then fought over that. So they're the bad invader. But then they kind of took over, and then the Saxons came, and they're kind of the bad invader too. Well, then the Saxons kind of established themselves, and the Normans came too, and then, well, that's the new invader. I just didn't see them any differently, but I guess there's some angst there or whatever. But it's kind of interesting seeing how those regional differences as an outsider, because it's not really my thing, to I'm not in the know. I mean, if I was in the UK, I probably would feel different, but anyhow, yeah, stir the pot there for you people in Britannia. Dinner's at 6 p.m. Okay, it's now 2 a.m. Woohoo! And you're working on hobby stuff? Wow. See, I have a hard time staying up to work on hobby stuff because there's not really a sense of urgency. And I've said this before. It's like, what the hell exactly am I staying up for? And if I stay up too late, it's going to compromise me getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning when that is just inflexible. I want to be up at 5 a.m., because that means, well, on a work day, I have an hour to myself. And on a weekend, I have multiple hours to myself to, to do something positive and feel good about, what I'm doing. But maybe it's part of the, cheering for the underdog thing, and I get that. I get I especially like, understand gaming with the underdog because, you want to play the side that didn't win to see if you can do better than them. That's kind of a human nature type of challenge. North by a quarter of a mile. You mean half of a kilometer? I thought you guys did metric up there. I know, you do both. North. So that doesn't run through Scotland, right? That runs through, oh, Oh boy, I'm going to get chewed out if I say the wrong thing. I'll call it Northumbria. Am I right? I don't know. Hey, I'm good on geography. I just don't, I'm not studying that right now. If I was doing some kind of campaign over Britain, then I'd be in the know. But yeah, nearly Scotland, but not quite. Newcastle. Okay. Is that in Northumbria, or Northumbria is just on the coast? Okay, I'm out of beverage. I will be right back. And no, it's not alcoholic. You want me not to get any painting done? Give me a drink. No painting will be happening. I'll be right back. Okay, we're back. Northumbria. That reminded me of something. So I don't know if you guys saw the game that we did a couple days ago, but I decided to commandeer something that Mitch has had for a long time, and I'm tired of looking at it. I brought it home with me here, and this is some dollar store thing that he got a while ago, and we're going to paint this up. We're not going to paint this up right now. We'll probably leave this for the weekend, but this just reminded me of like one of those Welsh castles that Longshanks built. I mean, looks like it's taken some damage, but this thing will end up looking pretty darn cool. But I guess it's usable now, but it could be so much better. It could be so much better. So you need to fix this thing up. Although I don't really know what the hell this is in here in the center. We're going to paint this up probably like a tree or something. See if I can get a view of it and show you guys what it is. See if you guys can see here in the courtyard what it is. It almost looks like it could be a big fire. I'm not sure what that is. We're going to have to paint that like a tree. Mitch goes, "Oh, it's a well." Well, the problem with a well is wells usually go down, not up. So, yeah. But anyways, we're gonna paint this thing up over off and on, and get this back to him. So, yeah, I don't paint for people, but in other words, I don't let people pay me. Well, they can't afford me if I charged them. So I just kind of do it when I'm like, screw it, I want to paint this thing up. So we may put it on a base, we may not. So to be continued. But anyhow, we'll see. It's we're gonna get this thing fixed up, make it look a lot better. He's got like 3 or 4 of those things I could do that with. I'm gonna only take them one at a time because I already know what's gonna happen. They'll just sit here and and rot. So. The wall stretch from the Tyne River to just beyond Carlisle. Okay. Okay. What do we do next? Hands. Give me some hands. Right. The usual suspects are put away. So we need to get red leather. Whoops. We need to get Sunny skin tone. We already have black there. That's all we need. Okay, let's refresh these. Okay. So I've seen a lot of things recently for sale from individual people on eBay or what have you that are in that they happen to be in the UK, and they've said, I'm shipping only to the UK. Which drives me kind of to my other point that I'm surprised nobody, I mentioned it in one of the painting sessions over the weekend. Of course, if you don't see it, it doesn't really do any good. But it seems to me that for the longest time before this Brexit thing, it seems to me that the shipping here in the United States to get something from somewhere in the EU, I can't say other places, but at least in the EU, the shipping was just cost just extremely expensive. But it wasn't in the UK. In the UK, it wasn't much more than say getting something domestic here in the States. But after Brexit, it's like the UK has gone to the same cost that things from the UK is almost the same as like if they were from the EU, which it doesn't make any sense to me because if they had been part of the European Union before and the shipping was a lot less than the rest of the European Union, why now that they left the European Union would it be a lot more? The only thing I can figure is, and this is me just looking at it from the out as an outsider, and from my experience in the way that government gets involved in things, the fact that they left the EU seems to make me think that maybe the UK government decided to look into how they were collecting tariffs or what have you, and all of these charges that they should have been collecting before that never were decided to tack them on now. That's just me looking at it from as an outsider, and I say that because that's what happened with like Amazon here in the United States. It used to be that if, or not necessarily Amazon, but any place in the United States wouldn't charge sales tax. All our states have different sales tax. They just wouldn't collect sales tax from the sale. And then what they started doing is if is in Amazon in particular, they started putting distribution centers in every state, and because they had a physical facility in that state, they could collect they could collect the sales tax from those purchases in that state. Maybe it was something like that. Maybe it's one of those things, like at least how you sell your house here in the United States. Every time you sell your house, it you run the risk of your property taxes going up because it gets reevaluated by the powers to be. So I have a feeling it was something like that. I could be totally wrong, but just looking at it from the outside of someone who's not involved in it, but the cost of getting things from the UK is really expensive now, and that's a shame for us because that's the land of toys. And luckily, I've got probably I can probably not buy anything for, I'm going to say, ever, and still have plenty of things to paint, and plenty of things that to paint. So that's not really an issue for me. Do you was trying? Do you was trying 148 tactic for World War II in 1/72? No, no, it wasn't me. Um, no, I've seen that 148 skill tactic. Yeah, that's not really my thing. I don't want to start from. I'm sold on 1/72, and the big reason for 1/72 is I like so many of the figures in 1/72, and I have in a perfect world, all of my figures in an army would be different. in that scale. I don't mind having a few repeats, very few, but I'm all in on 1/72nd scale. So yeah, I don't know how that game is. The only other game that I've played that I've been moderately happy with on skirmish, other than the Face of Battle, is a game called Normandy Firefight, and that's okay too. That's even smaller. You can only run really like 3 people per person, which is okay. It's a close and personal type thing, but there's no rules for vehicles or anything like that in that. So that just which you don't need to have the vehicles, but it's nice to have another depth of it. You know, you could easily have like an armored car or especially it's open topped. That's like perfect. It's like it can still get damaged by small arms fire. Yeah, I have heard of 148 Skill Tactic. That's the one that's put together on by the guy who does Baueda, isn't it? Or yeah, one of the manufacturers makes the figures for that too. But no, I can't paint figures bigger than a 1/72nd. It would just take me too long. I wouldn't get anything done. And I've got tons of 20 millimeter figures. I mean, like tons. And I have tons of 20 millimeter figures that I absolutely love and can't wait to paint. So, prices are mental for shipping from UK. Yeah, what the hell happened? I think it's I think it's the government just scrambling to try to find revenue from every source. I I mean it's got to be that. Yeah. Oh well. I'll still order stuff from there if I need it, but I don't need it. I mean, like I said, the shipping wasn't and the service was better. I got things from the UK faster than I got them within the US. I mean, you know, for the most part. You really like Curacao, but not sure about the shipping cost. Yeah, I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. I'm going to blame it on the government sticking its nose in things and sticking it to us. Oh man, I'll get off my libertarian soapbox here, but I think they should charge sales tax or income tax, not both. Pick one. You know, but I wouldn't make it long in politics because I'd be like, okay, no loopholes, right? I mean, everybody does this, and a lot of people would be at it. They wouldn't like me because it's just like, why is it so difficult to figure things out? Why do you put all of this medicine that's advertised on the TV? Ask your doctor about this, ask your doctor about that. And then there's all this little fine print. It's like, nope, you can't have fine print. You need to like tell people what it is. People need to be able to understand. Yeah. Lobbyists and a lot of lobbyists and attorneys would be out of work if I was in charge. But oh well, I don't want to be in charge. If I was somebody like Bill Gates, I'd go buy my own island. I'd design my own flag. That's the whole reason to buy your own island, right? You get to design your own flag. I mean, how cool is that? And just leave people alone. Let people live their life in freedom. Oh man, yeah, I wouldn't work. I wouldn't work well in government. I like to leave people alone. Yes, I don't know what that's a yes to, but okay, thank you. Yeah, I was not a proponent of them taking more, adding taxes on shipping costs and stuff like that. So, although I am actively looking for a source, and I think I found a few of hobby supplies that that don't come from a certain nation. So, as soon as uh, as soon as I find that, I may just decide to throw all these brushes away. But I'm not going to buy any more stuff from that place. But it's difficult. You go places, it's hard to find things that aren't made there. So I think I found some brushes from Germany. I might try them on Amazon. We'll do a brush review on them. But unfortunately, I have a lot of these, and I may just get fed up with it and just throw all these brushes away. Where are these from? The last ones I bought. What did they say? And some of them on Amazon, they won't even tell you where it is. So I've asked questions like, "Hey, where do these brushes come from?" And they won't tell you. Where do these come? They don't say on here. Yep. No, these don't say where they come from. So I don't know. Maybe we'll have to switch to them. It's like I'll feel better about it. So, anywho, our sales tax is already calculated into the selling price. Well, that's a better system. If it costs €2, it's €2, not 2.38. Yeah, that's a better system. There was a place that it was a restaurant. I want to say it was like a burger shop or something like that. They encountered everything they had ended it in either in 50 cents or a dollar. So it was either $5 or 5.50 or six. Not 6.27. Not just keep it simple. Like I don't ever use cash. I don't ever use physical cash. That doesn't mean I use credit card for everything, but I use a debit card for everything because I don't want to deal with odd numbers of change. It's just ridiculous. So, yeah, I would like that system. Your sales tax is normally 19%. Holy crap. They reduced it to 16% for the present situation. Is your income taxed also? Oh, you guys pay out the freaking door just so you can drive however fast you want on the Autobahn. Well, that's what you get for being able to open it up. Trying to buy nothing at all from that country. Yeah, me too. I'm kind of personally at war with them, with the country, not the people. The people's history is really cool. I mean, and I like painting their armies, but I've kind of had enough of it. You know, it's anyhow. Luckily, there's only a couple of countries, that are that way. I got excited because I saw something the other day that was made in Thailand or, somewhere else. There's lots of other places we could be doing business with. Why them? Yeah. You're across the pond and you don't want to do business with them. Good. Good. Yeah, it looked like things were going to get a little better and then they didn't. So, yeah. Just because some people in this government are in bed with them doesn't mean I'm going to be in bed with them. So, yeah. If that gets me banned on YouTube, well then, f YouTube. I'll just keep painting and we'll just put it somewhere else. But, you know, I think that if they had a store, that's the other thing that I don't like about like Amazon, for instance. I don't necessarily have a problem with Amazon at all. Um, But the problem with it is that there's a lot of Like, let's say you're looking for paintbrushes. I'll use paintbrushes for an example. And you click on them like, oh, these look good. And then you see where they're made and like, oh, I don't want them. There's no way to click on that item and say, don't show me that item anymore. Or show me all the items that don't come from, there's no way to do that. It's kind of like when you have television. I don't have cable, but the most annoying thing about cable is, at least here in the United States, it'll show you, you turn it on. It's been 10 years since I've had it. It may be a little bit different now, but there'd be almost like a flow chart or a display of what channels are playing on what shows are playing on what channel at this time and in the future. But it'll show you all the channels, even ones you don't have, even ones that you can't even get because you know there's some areas that are just, there's only one cable company in that area, and they just choose not to offer you ESPN2 just to say something, so you can't get it even if you're going to say, well, I want it and I want to pay $100 a month. No, we're not going to offer it to you because it's not in our package. Well, that's okay, that's fine. But you still get to see that stupid channel there that you don't get to watch the show, because invariably if you have 140 channels, on the three you don't have, you'll see something you want to watch, and it's there glaring at you in the face, going, "Aha! You can't watch me!" And there's no way to take it off. Same thing. There's no way to take. You can't even do it on eBay. Okay, like there's some vendors on eBay that like are prolific. They're always like putting things out, and they might be like lower quality stuff, and they're flooding the they're flooding eBay with their stuff. And it's just, I'd like to not see stuff from this vendor anymore. There's no way to do that. Or if there is, this idiot doesn't know how to do it. But it'd be nice because, it would make sifting through things a lot easier. Um, yes, we have to pay income tax. YouTube doesn't listen, it reads. So if they don't write a transcript of your videos, you should be safe. Well, I'm not I'm not putting anything controversial out there. I'm just I'm kind of thinking the only way it's going to end the situation that we're in now is if they start a war on their little neighbor and the whole world turns against them, and they get shunned. But I mean, we all got to do it together. Um, and I don't think they're going to do that because those people play the long game. So yeah, I don't know. Oh well. I finally got a like. I guess somebody said something that they liked. Oh man. It's like people say, they've told me before, or you think you'll ever go to Cuba? I said, hell no. I will never go to Cuba. And because, an example I'll give you is, my dad left in 1960. Thank goodness he had the foresight to do so. And he wasn't rich or anything, but I think he had to smuggle like his wedding ring or something like that, and like just like $200 or something like that, and had to leave everything else. And it's like, why would I volunteer to go to a country that my parents escaped from with the skin on their back? Like, and what I mean, I would what nerve would I have to go to volunteer to go to that country? So it's like, I'm not going to go, because they're not going to, that totalitarian regimes are not going to get my money. You know, that's all I can do. I can't change anything else, but so yeah, no, I'm never going to go. And luckily, my wife, who's the same descendancy that I am, feels exactly the same way. So, you know, go somewhere where we're from. We'll just go to Spain, but we're not going there anytime soon with the current situation. Yeah, and I'm not one of those, well, we got to buy stuff that's made in the United States. How about let's just buy things and people, where people aren't evil? I have no problem buying French, German, UK products, Philippines, Malaysia, and all the above. So, but yeah, they pretty much put everything, at least in the United States, where it comes from. But some of these brushes don't have them on the thing, and they may be on the package, but they don't show you the package when they're selling them. Well, we won't be trying those out. And here in the United States, one thing that's really good about Amazon is if you get something in error, there's a store here called Kohl's. It's a department store. It's like a J.C. Penney or something like that. It's a little nicer than a J.C. Penney, but they have their own clothes and stuff in there, and they have a partnership with Amazon where you just you get the item from Amazon, you get an email, and you can go on there and say, hey, I'd like to return this, and you just go to the store without a package or any of that and just hand it to them, and they work the refund out for you. So it's not really inconvenient to get the wrong thing, which is I would much rather go to a physical store and buy the item that I have, but some stores just don't exist, so I'm not afraid of buying things on Amazon because that return policy certainly makes it a lot less inconvenient than it would have been many years ago. John Peter, can you get in trouble watching videos where you are that have to use the term that the little girl used in The Sound of Music, that have say airplane kits that have the crooked spider on the tail? I'll always remember that little girl that said that, the crooked spider. I know that you can't make the model kits there, but can you get in can you get in trouble with that? I mean, if you haven't gone to bed. I remember when I was building model kits as a kid in the early '80s. They all had them. They all had they came in the kit. I think there were MPC kits is what I used to build a lot as a kid, which are I guess they're rebranded Airfix, and all the Airfix all had them in the early '80s. It wasn't an issue, you know. It's not like somebody was going to have a freaking Nazi party rally using 1/72nd scale little decals and put them everywhere. I mean, You don't think so? They aren't after model builders or historical fanatics, just neo Nazis. Yeah, well, yeah, we don't like the neo Nazis anywhere. So I don't like the neo Nazis or the people that they hate either. I don't like them either. Read your history, folks. There's bad people out there. Don't imitate any of them. It's a bigger problem if you're doing aircraft models. If you're doing like tanks and stuff, you could pretty much never have to put a crooked spider in any of your tanks. You just don't use the air recognition flags, which aren't really that common. And you could just get away with not doing that. If you've got some tanks in the desert that have the Africa Corps symbol on them, I think they're so small you wouldn't even be able to see it. But other than that, I don't think that. I think you can pretty much get away with not having that on any of your vehicles, anyways. So there you have it. Do armor models. Okay. I would have been done, but I'm distracted talking about other things with this guy, which is good because if I wouldn't be distracted, I might have just said, I'm kind of bored playing painting this guy by myself. So the interaction is helpful. We've got a week coming up at the beginning of April that I'm going to be batching it. So we're going to have lots of painting that week. At least that's the plan. So we should be done with these Hungarians by then and working on something else. I had a crooked spider tailplane for many years. My wife made me get rid of it. A JU 188. That's about as close to a heavy bomber as they had, right? Or there was a HE 3 something that was kind of the heaviest type of bomber. Your wife made you get rid of it. Wow. I have books on the Third Reich that have swastikas on them, books in English. Well, they have to. I mean, you kind of have to. Crooked Spider. I like that. I should remember that. I like that. I remember that little girl said that. You know, I don't like censorship, but I can understand why things are that way in Germany. I totally can see it. Just that symbol. Can't. I'm just saying I can see that. So I can see how that would be censored, and I'm not for censoring things, but I could see how that would be a delicate situation. I get it. So now places that weren't in Germany, like here, I don't agree with that kind of censorship. But we're just putting them on models and stuff like that. We're not. We're not wearing them on t-shirts. I mentioned that the other day. People that play Flames of War and stuff, they make all kinds of shirts so you can get into your team or whatever. You show up and you play Flames of War with your team, and you happen to have even something like Fallschirmjägers or something like that. I don't want to wear a Fallschirmjäger T-shirt. That just sends the wrong message. I don't have a problem painting the little figures, and but it sends the wrong message. That's all. You know. It sends the wrong message to people that don't know me. Let's put it that way. So, or as I always like to say, well, this is becoming less and less prevalent, but how would you like, you're at some game convention and you're playing a Flames of War game, and you're playing, let's say you're playing Liebsender Adolf Hitler, okay? And you've got a shirt, because that has the SS runes on it, and you're wearing that, and you run across some guy who was visiting with his grandson, and he was or great grandson nowadays, and he fought him in Normandy, and he's a veteran. Like, how would that make you feel? I mean, it's like that's not cool. Not cool. I remember many years ago, it was probably 15 years ago, there was a B-17 and a Heinkel 111 that were flying from airport to airport, kind of as a hands-on kind of thing or whatever. And I found out that they were going to be at our local airport, so I left for lunchtime to run down to the airport to take a look at them. And it's creepy to see a crooked spider that big. It's just something like I wouldn't want to fly in that plane. Let's just put it that way. That's just no. And I don't have a history of those people doing anything to anybody that I know of in my family, but still, it's just you know not good. No bueno. Next army's chosen by viewers. Can't do that. You can't do that because I have to make it so that I can't. This is not a democracy, damn it. We look what happens when you have a democracy. This is a benign dictatorship. No, I've got to stick with it all the way. So it's like a 6 month. It could be a 6 month commitment. More likely, it's like a 4 or 5 month. But yeah, I can't give you that power over me. And you guys might choose poorly. You know. I remember that. I was in high school. I think it was in high school sometime, and something came up, and I remember the teacher saying, "This isn't a democracy. This is a benign dictatorship." That's what they all say, and then it goes to their head. Oh man. No, I already thought about that, and then no, I got to decide what it is. And there's smart things I should do. Like it's pretty obvious to me what the smart thing that I should do next is. That doesn't mean I'm gonna do it because I should have done that instead of built the Hungarians. But I did the Hungarians anyways. But the smart play is finish up the 5 stands of Russian Knights. That's what I should do to have my early Russians complete. But that doesn't mean I'm going to do that. But we'll see. To be determined. To be continued. Just like one thing I should have done a long time ago is build 2 units. I got to build a unit of blade and a unit of crossbows for my medieval Germans, the C list, to be able to have them complete and 3.0 compatible. That's only 8 figures. I mean, that's like really easy to do, but it's like, I've already painted a lot of medieval German. That's no fun, so I just have to decide what it's going to be. But I think I can handle working on a 15 millimeter ancient medieval project and also and something World War II at the same time, because I didn't want to get to the point where like in a year from now I'm like, okay, we're not going to work on any 15s for like 2 years while I get my World War II stuff done. It's just easier to kind of do it as you go, because they're totally different. They're a totally different thing, especially since I'm doing the vehicles right now. I've got a lot of figures, but I'm not going to get into doing the World War II figures right now. I've got enough to potentially play whenever we get around to it. So, but that's the problem with letting you guys decide is, you know, I know what you're going to pick. You're going to pick some later polls, which I have later polls to do. That's not a bad idea. Paint 3 stands of later Polish, and then I can use them as an ally with my Hungarians. And it's not the Polish army that Mitch has. Mitch has the early Poles. So I've got some knight figures by Falcon. I think I'm going to have to replace their lances. Their lances are very easily bent. But yeah, that's an option. Yeah, if I build Poles, I can practice the one Polish word I know. I got a guy that used to play DBA or whatever, and he taught me one Polish word, and I have no idea what it means, but it's probably not a friendly word. I don't even know how to spell it. Give us 5 options and you vote. Well, you can still vote, but it won't make a difference to what I choose. So it could be kind of like elections in most places. Here's your choice between 5 things that you like the least. And then you pick one and you still don't get the winner. You get something else. Okay, we got the flesh on this guy. And, right. So, hose, do we have somebody with red hose? Well, we do now because this guy's going to wear it. Make a hoser out of this guy. A lot of people are surprised that by the time I'm done with an army, like, I'm not even excited to play the Hungarians. I've spent so much time looking at these bastards that I'm not really that interested in playing them. Oh. Yeah, I know. Send me your address and I'll mail them to you. Yeah, yada, 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 yada. That will be Christmas gift for us. Christmas, that's a ways away. How much longer are you in Ireland? I know you were just kind of posted there for a little while. I'd love to go to Ireland, but it didn't happen anytime soon. And I just can't bring myself to go to Europe and not go to Spain first. It could be on the same trip. I gotta set foot in Spain before I go any other European countries. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of European countries I wouldn't mind going to, but I'm not going to be doing any of that anytime soon with the restrictions as they are. So the problem here for us is days off. It's not cost. Not that I'm made of money or anything, but you can budget cost. But we only have a certain amount of days off a year, and it's very difficult, to take them off in a row. and got to have at least 2 weeks to go out there. So I was looking at some figures on eBay, unpainted, of course. And I was like, oh, that'd be cool to buy that army. I only need to buy, well, with some forged in battle figures. But I don't need any more figures. As much as I'd like to paint the forged in battles, I'm like, I could build this army only buying 3 packs of the forged in battle figures, which is relatively inexpensive. It would be, well, it'd still be 60 something. It would be like $60 plus whatever the shipping is from, but I'm like, I just, I'm gonna feel a lot better if I build an army with stuff I already have. So, but I do that a lot now. I shop. I'll be like, oh, this is really cool. What does it take? I'll put them in my shopping cart, find out how much it is, and they just never finish the sale because I kind of got the excitement of doing all the shopping and just don't have to spend the money. Or it's not even the money. It's just that I don't want to feel bad about having even more things. I mean, I want to put a dent on what I have. It's not like I can finish with everything, so uh, talked with many German pilots. Only one I would regard as a committed Nazi. Still liked him. Hajo Herman. Still liked him. Hajo German. Did I know anybody who was? I have never met. I never met a German veteran or Japanese veteran. Um, my parents were good friends with a guy who was in the Italian Air Force. He passed away now, but he was an SM-79 pilot and bomber pilot, and I never got a chance to meet him. Um, and he lived here in town with his his daughter lived here in town, and they lived here as well. Um, and yeah, I haven't had that much personal interaction with veterans of the Second World War. Um, I had a guy when I worked at the hobby store in the early '90s. There was a guy who would come all the time, and he was. I don't remember if he was a pilot of a B-17, but he was a part of the B-17 crew, and he must have been somewhere in the cockpit. So he was either a radio operator, a co-pilot, or the actual pilot. Because I remember him counting, kind of describing a situation where he encountered a German plane and a German fighter, and that kind of knew that they were kind of done for, and kind of saluted them, and they went down or something like that. I don't know if that really happened, but that was his story. He didn't really have a really veterans, you just never know what kind of experience they've had. Some of them are just like, don't want to hear anything about what they've experienced, or maybe they do want to talk about it, but they can't stand their enemy. Look, if people are trying to kill me, I get that. Okay, I understand why you wouldn't like the people that you were forced to go fight over and were killing your buddies. So I understand that. But this guy in particular, I don't remember what his name was. He definitely had. He didn't necessarily have a bad experience from that, or at least he said he didn't have a bad experience from it. I just, you know, so never met an Axis guy. You know, up to August and back home. Okay. Australian Greg, I'll watch a while having lunch. Okay. It's nice connections between Spain and Ireland. Cheap flights with Ryanair. I hear Ryanair is like a super discount place. That's like our Spirit. I think Ryanair is like Spirit. They charge you extra if you have long pants on. Oh, you're bringing a wallet with? Oh, you're wearing a hat. That's extra. You know. Hey, I don't care if they charge you for extra things as long as they're upfront about what it's going to be. You know, so you're not like, surprise, it's not going to be this amount. It's now this amount. Oh, that's not cool. You organized talks with vets back in the 1980s. Yeah, they're getting up there in age. Pretty soon there won't be any left. My dad was old enough to have been in the war, but you know, he lived in another country that they did join World War II. But how old would he have been in? He would have been 15 in 1940. So yeah, he could have been. I watched a review of a game at lunchtime. It was a Axis and Allies game, and the reviews some new game. It came up on my recommendations, and there was some girl doing the review, and that's all the comments is a lot of guys just salivating over the girl and this that or the other, but she was like overacting to the extreme. And there's this one scene where she goes, you can play the Allies. The what did she say? The Axis, boo, and then she said the Allies, Britain, the United States, and the Soviet Union, yay. And I'm like, I just have a problem like saying yay to the Soviet Union. It's just, I'm not saying the other guy should have won, no, but the Soviet Union is just bad. I remember my dad would say, my dad's not around anymore, but he would always say, he just never understood why the Western Allies had to deal with the Soviets. Yeah, especially since they fought them in, what would it have been, 20 years before? Yeah. The Soviets are the other bad guys. That's why I like Eastern Front. It's which bad guy you want to be, you know? So, yeah, especially when they attacked Poland, the sons of bitches. They went and dealt with the freaking Nazis. I would have been like, enjoy your bed. You made your own bed there, asshole. Oh, man. Da-da-da-da-da. John Peter says, I went to a 3-day seminar about World War II and Vessel. Hey, I said that right. And there were interesting veterans there. It was a joint German-Dutch effort. One veteran could remember where the first 3 bombs fell in Vessel. He said, after it becomes a daily event and you lose track. I didn't know that the British carpet bombed 2 Dutch towns by mistake, thinking they were German. Precision bombing. Oops. At least get the right country. Yeah. How long do I expect to be online until YouTube kicks me off? Oh, you mean today? Well, until the girls get home, which could be it could be any time. Do I have a message yet? Nope, doesn't look like it. Half hour, something like that. I mean, I'm wide awake, but I do live with other people. The glory days of the early '90s are gone. Well, I didn't have all this internet, man. Otherwise, we could be, we could have been buddies so many more years before. Ah, the glory days of the '90s. The late '90s, anyways. Well, actually, I didn't have a computer until '99, February '99. My own computer, I should say. So, all right, we got a scabbard on this dude. What color will thy scabbard be? Let's see if this will, let's take a look at this. I think it's going to be too close to his light coat, even though it's going to be going on something dark. Yeah, let's do something a little different. Let's go grab our browns. They have a. Greg reminded me. Greg was doing. We were talking about stuff a little while ago about he was going to do some Italian tanks for his Australians at Tobruk, and I think they make a scenario book. The skirmish campaigns make a scenario book for the Australians in the desert. I mean, they make one in the desert anyways. It has mostly, I think it's mostly Italian British scenarios, and then the Africa Corps shows up in the last couple scenarios. I don't have it, but I think they make one at Bardia. I want to say, but I think it's at Bardia is what their scenario book is. I forgot, but I thought that was interesting. Although the Australians would just wear the same kit as the rest of the Commonwealth forces in the desert. I don't think they wore anything different. The only ones that would have worn something different would have been the Indians that would have had the headgear. I think the Indians were in the desert. I seem to recall that they were. I could be wrong. I haven't looked at that stuff in a long time. I always liked the desert, though. I thought the desert was really well balanced, and both sides had some cool equipment and paint jobs and so forth. So, is it just Australia, or is it streaming out of focus to others? I don't know. I don't know. I'm doing my part. I have 5G, and it is. I have every bar open. So, I don't know. It's you have some early desert scenarios for rapid fire. Okay. I played rapid fire a couple times, and it wasn't for me. They have a thing where if you roll a certain thing, or I don't know if the version you played is this way, but it's first of all 6-sided dice, I believe. So I'm out. Well, I mean, I can deal with it for DBA, but not for World War II. I'm much too anal for that. And then the other thing is that I think if you roll a six or whatever when you attack, you automatically get a hit, even if it's like a honey on the front of a king tiger. At least in the version I played. It's just not my thing, and it's 1 to 5 scale. So I've done a lot of that in the past with command decision and some spearhead and stuff like that. So 2 a.m. 2 a.m. Good night. Okay, John. Thanks for stopping by. Good seeing you come by again. Frequent contributor. Um, yeah, I've said this before, and people might think I'm crazy, but I'll take the internet and not be able to travel over being able to travel and not have the internet. The fact that we can communicate with our little niche hobby all around the world is much more important to me. I'm fine if I never go to Europe. It's okay. So I don't want to trade the passing information and interaction that we have these days. It's pretty awesome. So it's 3 a.m. for me, so it's bedtime. It's almost time to get up. All right, John Peter, we'll catch you next time. Auf Wiedersehen. Oh man. The land of beer and the land of toys. Oh. So many miniature manufacturers are in the UK. Certainly most of the ones that I like. Not not all. I've actually never painted Legio Heroica. Their figures look great on the internet. Um, and sometimes you'll get like figures that if they get the right person to paint them, it makes them look even better. And the guy who they have painting all his stuff, I really like the style they're done in. They did a good job with that fellow, and I know I just assumed it's a fellow. Okay, well crucify me. Um, I'll I'll go to the back of the line of getting crucified. No, their figures look great. Mitch has some. I think his Crusaders are Legio Heroica. Obviously, he didn't paint them because it's Mitch we're talking about here. But yeah, their figures look great on the internet. Just the shipping from Italy is just oi bad, 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 bad. And Mirliton too. Is Camelot Miniatures out of Italy as well? Is that the third Italian brand? Oh, we're talking 15s, of course. I'm not in the know of other scales, but yeah, Legio Heroica is 15. Mirliton, of course, is 15. They're Italian, and Camelot Miniatures. Maybe you guys don't know much about them, but they did have a presence on the internet. They're kind of obscure. I think I think they might be Italian as well. No German manufacturers that I can think of. French, there was only the Alain Toulaire, which he passed away a few years ago. I have some of his excellent figures. Um, Spain has, of course, we're only talking ancients and medieval. So I know that there's Fantasin that was over there, which I think that got taken over by Zan or Jean or XAN. Maybe they just took over his 20 millimeter stuff. But and of course, Boeda is Spanish. I believe they're Spanish. And Corvus Belli used to be made in Spain, but just about everything else is either, and then everything else that's left over is U.S. or UK. I think there might be an Australian brand that I'm not familiar with. Um, the slouch hat was worn mainly for the newsreels back home. Okay, okay, Marchen, have a good night. All right. I'm sure I've left somebody off. There's a couple Polish manufacturers. Um, oh, there we go. I'm like, where's the spot where I was working on it? This thing is almost outlived. My goal is to paint 3 more figures with it after this guy, and then I'll switch this thing out. But yeah, those damn Russian tanks sure made a mess out of that. Boeda's Italian, okay. And Eureka Mini. Oh, that's right, Eureka. Oh, I have some of those. I have my Nanchow of them. Oh, those Nanchow are spectacularly good. Those are probably the nicest figures I've painted. Is those Nanchow? Those are really, really nice figures. Really, really nice. Unfortunately, Eureka makes a lot of stuff, and most of their stuff is in 28. But they have a few 15s. My buddy Jeff, the first one I ever saw was one of his earliest armies that he ever painted was the Samurai, which are for the Mongol invasion time period. The ones from Eureka, and they're nice looking figures. They're I want to say some of the first 15s that they made. It was a long time ago when he got them. So yeah, but those are nice looking figures. Yeah, Eureka would come to Historicon every year, and I'd always ask him, "Hey, did you bring any 15s?" No, just brought 28s. Well, I don't do 28s. Sorry. That's just as well. Now they also carry Eureka also carries because they have a Eureka USA. Eureka USA, I believe, carries the AB figures, which if I need any World War II figures that I don't already have, like for tank crews and stuff, yeah, the AB stuff is really really nice. I want to say I have some of their stuff. I don't remember how in the hell I got it, but I want to say I have some of their stuff. Yeah, those figures are really nice. And some of the nicest tank crew, like the half figures, are the Foundry ones. The ones from the Foundry, which I found out they were back in production. You can buy them again. So, we're not going to give them black shoes. We're going to give them really dark brown shoes, and then we'll bring them up a little bit. Yeah, I love my 20s. I got lots of 20s to paint. I got lots of 20s that are out of production, and I have them, and they're absolutely beautiful figures from Drew's Militia, or I think at that time they were called Battlefield, and really nice the Stalingrad range of Germans and Soviets. So look forward to painting them at some point in the future. Oh, I was thinking Boeta was Spanish. I don't know. Oh well, I've been wrong before. QR miniatures. What are you doing here? You went to bed. What's QR miniatures? Is that the Polish company? There used to be one, Osmial Osmi, probably 15 years ago. They used to make the figures for Tannenberg, So they had later poles and they had later Teutonic Knights. Really nice figures. A buddy and I were going to do a battle game when we used to travel to Historicon. We did a big battle, and we were both going to paint a later Polish army and I think Hungarian allies. So this Hungarian ally was going to do. So I had bought a Polish army. He did too, and he got to working on it before I did. This was when he was in Korea. We'd actually Skype at like 4 o'clock in the morning. He'd be getting home from work, and we'd Skype, and he just the metal on them. He said it was so brittle that he just couldn't even trim the flash with an X-Acto knife. He said he ended up throwing them away, threw them away in some dumpster. I basically never got around to them, and I got rid of a lot of things maybe 2009 or something like that, and I just ended up selling that army back on eBay. I never started working on it or anything, and now those same molds are, I believe, owned or the figures are carried by, I believe it's Fighting 15s in the UK. And they're really expensive, but they're exactly the same figures as I remember them. And I'm sure they're a different alloy. The only problem was the alloy. The figures are beautiful. But yeah, lots of people actually make later. Well, yeah, lots of people make later poles. Essex and the Essex, the those guys. Um, the figures I have by Falcon, which Falcon is bottoms up, and nobody can find it. You know, nobody can find, nobody can find where the hell Kai's hiding under. Um, he was the one in the U.S. that was carrying him, and he actually came to one of our shows here in Florida. And I bought a bunch of Arabs that he had just come out with at a time, and he just kind of disappeared again. But his Arabs actually look really, really good. So fortunately, I bought those. So QR miniatures. Yeah, I'm not sure who QR is. I'll look them up. I will put them on my trusty napkin of knowledge here. QR miniatures. It sounds familiar. QR miniatures. So I think Osmel, weren't they the guys that did the Pico armor? Which I really like that Pico armor. I've seen it in person. And if I was ever going to go back to playing an operational type of game, like, on the scale of like Rapid Fire or even more zoomed out, like Panzer Corps or something like that, I would definitely build units that were on a counter with multiple those little tanks on there and two or three. I think they're 2 millimeter. I think they're really really cute. That would make a good looking game, of an operational type of game. You could paint all your little Samu S35s or whatever the heck they were, and put them in a little formation on the counter, and you could make a counter that was, I don't know, maybe the size of this matchbox or whatever, and have multiple vehicles on it. That'd be kind of cool. Don't need to get into other things. I've got enough on my plate, but I'm just saying that would be really nice to look at. You know, yeah, Pico armor. Well, now it's apparent that the girls took long enough to arrive. I have finished this fellow. Ha! And this brush is kind of shot now for detail work. It's got another little flurry coming off of it. So that's one less Chinese brush I don't have. We'll relegate it to do something different. Eventually we'll run out. We'll have to buy German ones or. Okay, I think we're done with this, dude. Ah, he'll come up better in the pictures. Oh, there actually is one thing I got to do to him. I got to put the null on his helmet, and then we'll come back and brighten that up a little later. We don't have to do the null, but I've kind of actually enjoyed doing that. Okay, we'll let that dry. That's figure number 5 of 8. All right, we're going to use a little boy's room, and I'll be right back. Okay. Next figure. Another fellow just like him. Another fellow just like him. Okay. You're having extreme buffering issues, so you're going to sign off. Don't leave me. Okay. All right. Right. So, what color of a coat are we going to give this guy? Last guy had a kind of a dark reddish one. We're going to give this guy a buff colored coat because that's probably a really common type of color. So let's, we don't have any that's still alive here. So, let's see. Man, I'm surprised the girls aren't back. Woohoo! Yeah, that's why I did this. I figured I could be really productive. I got to get this stuff done anyways. The fact that I'm getting some of it done during the week is a minor miracle. So, might as well do that as long as I can. Okay. Let's do this. And let's find us a spot that's gonna work with. Probably should have done the chainmail on his arms first, but oh well. If I have to repaint any of this, it'll be such a tiny amount. It'll turn out just fine. I don't remember painting the inside of his. Oh, I did. Okay, that'll work. All right, before we take this any further, let's go ahead and paint the arms on this guy here. Should be some of this color that's alive. Yeah. Actually, probably need a little bit more. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Here we go. We don't need much paint on here, that's for sure. Should do it. Not much. I'm gonna go ahead and do this other guy since I got it right here. Now the last guy, I actually need to go find the other figure because when I pulled him out, I wanted 4 of each pose because I'm gonna mix and match them. But I actually have one more of the other ones. I know I've got more of these guys right here. Want a variety of poses if at all possible with these guys. They're just mercenaries or one step up above a peasant in this army. They don't have fancy equipment or anything. Okay, back to this buff coat. Yeah, I was actually surprised when I rewatched that Q&A that I did the other night, how loud the background noise was. Because while the rest of the world is freezing, we got our first warm spat, I think, that day. So we had to have the AC going. And it's basically a shed in the back of his house in his backyard. So it is not insulated. If it's not, yeah, I don't think it's insulated at all. So it was pretty hot. We had to have the AC running. So we didn't run it while we had the Irish games, but for the Q&A, yeah, we had to keep that going. I didn't realize it was so darn loud. But oh well. And I think today is actually cool again. We had a front that came through. Cool. Yeah. Maybe 50 something, but yep. We're sweating our ass off, and the rest of you guys are complaining about being too cold. Well, people in the northern hemisphere, anyways. As much as I really want to paint my JS2, and finish up my Russian tanks. I'm really foregoing that at this point. I really need to finish the last three of these guys. And while these guys are drying and being sprayed, we can go back and work on those guys. But I want to get these two stands done so we can play some Hungarian games here, and I can start thinking about what the next army is going to be. Most importantly, okay, let's just take this color with some white in it. Find the white over here. Let's live on the edge and put a little bit more white in this. What did I just get notified of? Uh-huh. Okay. Got notified of another game that of a video. I'm I've been at a computer game so long that this whole concept of buying games before they're fully released at a really reduced price is kind of still foreign to me. So I ended up picking up a game last year. I want to say it was around 4th of July. I used to be a big advanced squad leader player way back in the day. So I'm not opposed to playing counter games. I'm just opposed to spending multiple hours setting something up before you can play it and not being able to leave it set up. So I have no problem playing board type games on a computer because you can, at the snap of a finger, at the game set up. So I picked up a set of rule fourth. I set a game around the 4th of July last year called Lock and Load, and in some ways it's actually better than I like it better than Advanced Squad Leader. But the problem that it has is they were having a long time that they're actually might have been before 4th of July. Anyhow, whenever I got it, I played it quite a bit, and I was trying to play with a couple of folks, including one that has their own YouTube channel. He was going to film it, and we were going to do it on there because I played it quite a bit. But they never got the multiplayer fixed for like a month, and I just finally just gave up on it. And I don't know if they've got the multiplayer fixed on it, but I wouldn't say it's a complicated game, but they just didn't seem to get the computers to talk to each other. You'd have things on your board and they would be different on their opponent. He was like, "No, they're not. These guys are over here." I said, "No, these guys are in this other hex. Show me." So I'd take a picture and send it to him. Like, "Yeah, it's all messed up," and I'd send the error report to them, and then they'd fix that one thing, and something else would be broken. And I'm like, my free time is too valuable. If I'm playing a game, I'm not painting, and and as much fun as it is playing a game, when it becomes frustrating, then that does not become therapeutic. It just becomes more stress added to me, which I don't need. So I stopped playing that game, or even attempting to do it multiplayer, probably for the last what's it been, 7, 8 months, something like that. And I don't know if they've got. It's a good game. I just don't know if they've got the multiplayer fixed. So and it's difficult. It's not like when you're playing Field of Glory and you're doing turns. You just do one turn and then you send it to the other guy, and the other guy does the turn at his leisure. The problem is you need two people. They got to communicate each other. All right, at 8 o'clock we're gonna meet and we're gonna do that. And there'd be like a couple hours that I have to do it. I figured it would take. We'd be done in 2 hours, and it would take us like an hour and a half to get everything set up, and then before we found out that it really wasn't working. So yeah, that's pretty frustrating. But it's a good game if they could ever get the multiplayer fixed. It's a good looking game too. So I don't have a problem with counter games as long as they look attractive, and that's a good looking game. I like the mechanics of it. So anyhow, Yes, I do computer games, but they don't take the place of this. This is, anybody can play a game. This is, I've already developed this special set of skills to some extent, so we need to keep them going. You know, it's motivating to play the period. So but it still doesn't. They don't. The figures don't paint themselves. You still need to do that part if that's part of your enjoyment, and it is for me. All right, so we're gonna make a white shirt for this guy, and just see if we can do this here. Mm. Well, the disconnecting doesn't seem to be an issue today. It was just on, was it Sunday? It was on Sunday. It was a pain in the ass. It just disconnected me so many times. Whew. Well, regardless, at 10, we're going to stop. We're definitely going to stop at 10. So that's in 16 minutes or so. I can't imagine that girl's not being home by then. They went to dinner at one of my daughter's friend's house. It's 6:45, so I guess they're having a good time. Hey, works for me. I'm getting stuff done. Whew. Yeah, you can tell I'm not drinking any coffee. It's just water with the tiniest amount of not strawberry, of cranberry. Supposedly good for you, but it's so strong flavored that all you need is like 1 part to 20 or something like that, and it gives it plenty of flavor. So Okay, let's use the pure white here. Okay, how are we doing? 14 minutes left, 13 minutes left, something like that. We got time to do the face. Well, we've been doing whew, we've been doing the firearm first. Maybe that's what we should do. Okay. 2 lurkers, 3 lurkers. No. Welcome, anyways. I'm sure you guys are working on your hobby. That's good. That's what I used to do. I'd put a couple of people that I subscribed to and that I rarely listen to anymore. Yeah, and got some painting time. Oh, that's it. Girls are home. Well, we're going to call this one a wrap, and we'll catch you guys next time. Anyways, happy painting, and we'll probably be back on the weekend for sure. But anyhow, we'll catch you guys next time. See ya.